7 o'clock, I hereby call the meeting to order of Ossipee Planning Board, December 4th. Y'all please rise. Pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Steve McConaty?
Yeah.
Rick St. Jean is absent. Sam Martin? Here. Tim Otterbach?
Here.
Peter Zavas?
Here.
Bob Gillette?
Here.
Dennis Legendre?
Here.
Roy Barron?
Here.
Condict Billings?
Here. Minutes of the last meeting.
Make a motion we approve.
Dennis, you got a second it?
Second.
Rick's here. Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Do it.
Having no discussion, I hear my call for the vote. All those in favor?
I abstain.
All those abstaining?
I've been abstaining.
Bob, Gillette, Peter.
I did not, I voted.
I know. Unsatisfied, did we get a letter from Fire Chief on Verizon? No, okay. Everything else is the same. Brian, you're up.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don't want to disappoint everybody, but I need to ask for a continuance, please. Take a short night of it. To sometime in January, preferably the second meeting, which would be the third Tuesday. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I submitted this letter. I believe there's going to be a plan change from the one we submitted, and that is to be negotiated between the two parties, and that is the reason for the continuance.
Is this BLA or is this, which one is it?
BLA.
That would be the 16th of January.
Okay.
Make a motion that we continue this case till January 16th, 2018.
Ooh. I know. Yeah, true. We'll second that.
Roy seconded.
Oh, Roy.
Any discussion? Vote. All those in favor? Thank you very much, Brian.
Okay, thank you, and have a Merry Christmas, one and all.
Same to you. Have a happy New Year.
Yeah. Is Mr. Soldier going to be here? Never met him, but talking to you guys.
I don't know, I don't think so. I was hoping to be tonight, I saw the agenda.
Thank you once again. Have a good evening.
O'Reilly is not here yet.
No.
I got a phone call that he was gonna be here shortly, but he was stuck on.
Well,
Go on to the other show.
go to the old business for them. Morse Pit is still awaiting legal. We have a new special use permit application, notice of taxes, boundary line, and Laura's done them. anyone has got any questions on the way she set it up.
Basically, it's the same format as all the other applications and forms that I've been doing. Again, just changing the email address from Pat Jones to the planning board's email address. Updated the number of plans that are required and removed the dollar amounts from the fees to be paid to the current fee schedule.
The tax bond is new, right?
No, that was something I found within Pat Jones's
It's on Steve's page, I believe.
applications of forms. That was a form that I was questioning whether or not the planning board utilizes, or is that something that comes from Kelly?
Well, we have to know whether the taxes are paid before we can pass anything. So that would give proof that the taxes have been paid.
I don't think that's right.
On what?
This, if you look up RSA 674-37A, it doesn't say anything about the taxes having to be paid before the board can consider anything. The only thing it refers to is that the landowners may prorate the taxes prior to a tax bill coming out, but it doesn't give anybody the authority to withhold an applicant from coming forward because the taxes aren't paid.
But once you change that boundary, just like this one that we just had, once you change that boundary and register it, now you've changed tax numbers. You've changed taxpayers.
Well,
And,
that's the-
if you and I split, did a boundary line adjustment, and I owed on my taxes, you'd have to pay
right,
on that section.
right.
But there's someplace, and I don't know exactly where.
I've looked for it, and I had an experience where I was disputing a timber tax assessment, and they tried to keep me from going before the planning board. And it was illegal. And they had to hear me. And I've seen this come up quite a few times, and you know, I've mentioned it to Roy before that, and I looked it up in the book, and there's no authority granted to the planning board to withhold an applicant's application just because the taxes aren't paid. And the way this RSA is written, basically it's between the two parties at the closing. If you do a boundary line adjustment, you're still going to have a deed prepared with a legal description, and that's worked out at the closing.
We don't care about a deed. We have no authority over a deed.
Yeah. You have no authority to withhold their application because the taxes aren't paid either.
I move that
Are you suggesting that the planning board should hear a case and grant approval of maybe a disputed tax claim and alter the shape of a lot while it's under dispute?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this, if you read RSA 674-37A,
Do we have Just a couple minutes. Okay.
Possibly the authority to do this is vested somewhere else that we haven't discovered
Yeah.
yet. Perhaps we ought to ask town council.
Well, that's what's in my motion was gonna be that
Okay.
I'll second it.
Mr. Chairman, in paragraph 4 on 674:37A, there is a line that says, after full prepayment of the tax collection shall upon request execute a statement identifying the subdivision plat and stating that all real estate tax obligations for that tax year have been fulfilled with respect to the property shown on the plat. So they're already addressing that.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, they're addressing that.
We're
A
defining-
document similar to this paragraph 4, towards the bottom of it, you know, that a document like this basically will show that those taxes in fact have been paid as per definition in.
Well, according to that, we cannot grant it without them taxes being paid.
That's not the case. You're misinterpreting that.
Well, in the paragraph 3, it says that if we do merge it and there's some type of tax lien, then it applies to the new parcel now as well. So basically, it's in their best interest to make sure that everybody's free and clear before we do anything.
So both pieces shall,
76.
Properties full.
I guess the question was the best interest, or whether we have a legal obligation to do it, and it's their problem.
Well, I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty confident reading through this land use here that it does fall on us to some degree to make sure that they've fulfilled their tax obligation before we go on mucking things up. You know, put it very simply.
yes. Edward,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brookfield had asked the same question, and what I did is I went to Legislative Services down in Concord, and I sent them this email, which I'll forward to you. And our question to Legislative Research was, can a planning board ask the applicant for information regarding to tax liens or back taxes as part of the application process? We were questioning, can we do the same thing? Number 2, can a planning board use tax liens or back tax information as a component for the approval process? For example, if Lot A has $150,000 in back taxes and is being subdivided into Lot A and Lot A1, can the planning board force the applicant to designate the higher valued of the 2 resulting lots as Lot A? In other words, can we make sure a lien stays against the lot with the dwelling rather than going to the low valued new building lot? So basically, I'll forward this to you, but the answer was that the planning board does not have the authority to do that. Now, you're going to get a legal, you know, on this anyway, but that's what we found out.
okay. That word this just right.
We should perhaps also read section 5 here, which says that nothing in this section shall be construed to prevent the parties to a conveyance from making alternative provisions through privately held escrow or other means for the allocation and satisfaction of tax obligations, provided the municipality shall not restrict the property. So it may be worth asking town council about this.
I mean, I can remember the case we had down on Duncan Lake Road, that we wouldn't pass it until the taxes were either satisfied or, in that case, they proposed to pay the taxes after, but Kelly would not certify it until the taxes were paid. So I'm very confused.
That's what we've been doing for the 9 years
I
I've
know.
been here, but I'm not sure it's legal.
Well, I'm not confused. I dealt with this on the
I
other end of
understand
it.
that, but
And,
and Ed says that we can't. So I would presume that,
So, Ed, very quickly, a little clarification to some of the slowest one here.
Not militarily.
just a.
Do we have the authority to ask whether or not the taxes have been paid?
The answer we got is no. But I'll send you the entire thing. The Legislative Services quoted all the RSAs, and it should be enough information to answer your question.
Okay.
At least so when you're...
But, you know, if we're granting an approval, we're increasing the value of the property, so it's in the town's best interest to approve it anyway.
Unless, of course, you run into an instance like this, where they're subdividing into two parcels, and it's very possible that the tax lien
But
may
the
go
tax
against the
lien,
less.
the tax lien would remain on both lots.
You just make the ship the new one, we'd have to pay it also.
Well, no, that's the law. You can't take a piece of a property, cut it off, and you don't delegate what's taxed, the town does. The town says what the taxes are on the property and what tax goes to which property, not you.
Oh, I understand. But my whole assertion here is that we don't create an issue where it causes confusion and then tax lien never gets put on, and all of a sudden you have a person who walks away with a free and clear piece of land.
That never happened. That'll never happen.
Everything in this book is here because it happened. That's why there's a line in here. It has happened. Just like when you go to get a mortgage. The reason why there's so much crap in your mortgage is because it happened. Not preventative. Nobody was, insightful and thinking outside the box. It happened.
I guess, I think you're just putting up another barrier here, and I know for a fact that it's not legal.
No, I was only looking out for the interests of the town and the people of the town, because that's what we're here to uphold. But if we have no legal right to inquire or ask, or I'll be more than happy to follow the law.
None of us here being a lawyer, I like Connie's suggestion that we ask the town
Absolutely.
council to review this, including information that Ed will provide.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Our town council, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome.
No comment.
We would check to make sure that everything
I'll shut up.
Isn't that part of the responsibility?
You working on the wording, Mr. Chairman? Okay.
They're on ink pretty quick.
I doubt.
I've never seen that pen move that fast.
Are we reviewing this form?
Probably.
Maybe dip it in the pot more often.
We'll be with you shortly.
Okay. Take a motion that we submit to the town attorney the following: do we, as a planning board, have the authority to withhold an application or approve a lot or boundary line adjustment without the land taxes being paid on both pieces? Or a single piece that is being subdivided?
I'll
Can
second
we?
that.
Oh, great. Second. Discussion.
Well,
Can
we got a second first.
I did.
Second over.
Tim did.
Oh, sorry.
Can we also add to that or amend that to
Oh, yeah.
ask if we have any right to even inquire regarding taxes?
Yeah.
Let's just throw it out there as a blanket statement. Can we even ask about the taxes?
Not legally.
And I would,
Well,
Thank you,
until
Councilor.
Same first name, wrong last name. Thank you, though.
So Peter, you want to amend that?
Yes, just to, as a blanket, or do we have the authority to inquire regarding taxes being paid?
and I'd like to forward the information that he's going to be on this to the lawyer too.
That's a good idea.
Any more discussion? All right. Anybody second Peter's
I'll second
amendment?
that.
All right.
We had the, send him the stuff Ed's gonna send too with it,
Right.
if you don't mind my adding
No,
that to
no,
that.
please, yeah, so.
And let's get the lowdown on the whole thing. So I'll make that a second.
All right, the amendment's been made. Vote on the amendment first. All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, on the motion, any more discussion before we vote? All those in favor? Motion carries. We'll get back to old business after Mr. The O'Reilly. Step right up, sir.
Sorry I'm late.
Well, you wouldn't have been late.
Was that?
You wouldn't have been late if the person hadn't asked for a continuance.
Yeah, I did hear of a second, but I tried to get it as fast as I could. It's coming up through Boston area, which was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not a good thing. That does happen. How you doing? For the record, my name is Casey Birch. I'm a civil engineer for Solely Engineering, based out of Monroe, Connecticut. And I'm here today to discuss the proposed O'Reilly's at 905 White Mountain Highway, Route 16.
905 or 901?
I think 905 is the entire thing, but it's been subdivided. I'm not sure if this has got an address per se, but it could be 901.
It's 901.
Is it 901?
.1.
21, okay. So, yeah, a little history on this. I think in 2010, you guys approved the tractor supply in the Family Dollar, and this was originally going to be a medical office location. That did not come through fruition, so we are here today with a 7,453 square foot O'Reilly's Auto Parts store. The property is bound by Isaac Bushwell Road to the north, White Mountain Highway to the east, and the Tractor Supply and Family Dollar and Route 28 to the south. It's accessed via Route 16 from the existing access drive for the plaza, the current plaza as is. It'll remain the access. We will be cutting into this street and maintaining it as we build. So let me just zoom into the site plan for you guys.
There's already an existing curb cut there,
Correct. Well, at the highway, correct, so we didn't have to do it.
There's a cutout for that.
Yeah.
Road for that.
On the access drive.
On the access drive, there is already a cutout.
Yeah, you get the stop sign right there.
Right, we're gonna actually, yeah, so we have a saw cut line coming through here, a little into it a little more. But yes, you're right, there is an access cutout for that already. The reason we have to cut into it is for the grading and drainage, which I'll show you guys soon. So like I said before, this is a 7,453 square foot O'Reilly's. It has 31 parking spaces, 2 handicap spaces in the front, 1 van, 1 standard. The loading area is to the south, and there's a dumpster pad with it's like a vinyl enclosure. It looks like wood. So yeah, just towns like to know what the enclosure is, so I always like to bring it up. Trucks will load here. They will park. They're a pallet and lift loading, so there's no truck well or anything. The grade is at the door. We had to provide I think it's a 4-foot high retaining wall, and it will be a segmental block retaining wall to make up grade in that area. So let's switch to, sorry, I'm not used to the boards. All right, so grading and drainage. The existing site had a stormwater basin there from the approved medical office. We are maintaining that. We're modifying it slightly to attenuate, to satisfy the NHDES's stormwater requirements for the 2-year, the 10-year, and the 50-year storm event. The runoff will be collected through these catch basins. This is a hydrodynamic separator, so it's pre-treatment prior to entering the basin. And the basin is an infiltration basin, although we do not design for that. But that will be the primary treatment for this site. Moving on to sanitary. We come out to the south side of the building into a septic tank, and then through gravity we will be crossing the wetlands by trenching it, probably like a 6-foot wide trench. And then we are connecting into the existing pump station that was put in there for the old design. And that flow was a lot higher than O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's only really requires 127 gallons per day, where the medical office was, I think, close to almost like 1,000, 800, like that, something like that. But we're still providing the 1,250 septic tank. Electric and telecommunications will be coming off the pole from Moultonville Rd, and there will be an overhead line to the back corner. And we will provide a well in the northern portion of the site, and that'll come and tie in from the north of the building. Now, we are currently in the process of getting the alteration of terrain permit from the NHDES, as well as the wetlands permit from them, and the septic, what's it called exactly? The individual sewage disposal system permit. We haven't received any comments back from wetlands or the individual sewage disposal permit yet, but we did receive comments back from the engineer for the alteration of terrain. The only major comment that they had that we will be working with is they want to take the runoff from the roof before we had it running off and going into a level spreader, then into the wetlands. They don't want us to do that because they want the roof. Apparently in New Hampshire, the roof is also, you need to pre-treat it and then treat it. Well, you don't need to pre-treat it, you just need to treat it. Right. And correct. And that was not doing it. So we had to, this red line right here is what we're proposing to do, and we're going to come in, we're actually going to come out straight since we don't have to pre-treat it. So it doesn't have to, we don't have to upsize the hydrodynamic separator. So it will come straight out and will be part of this system. We're working closely with Gloria Andrews from NHDES right now to satisfy all her comments and give her a revised engineering report, which once we have that, we will definitely supply to the town.
Is that the jurisdictional wetland right here?
Correct, yeah, yeah. And they're aware of this trenching and stuff too, and the wetlands is about 0.17 acres on this 1.76 site, where I think we're only disturbing, I think less than 100 square feet almost, you know what I mean? So that was done by Peter Cooperdock, a soil scientist, who we've been working closely with, and I guess is familiar with the area. So So let me switch. Any questions on the site plan and grading and drainage plan, or do you want to hold questions for last? It'd just be easier for me to.
That pool that's on the south side of the driveway.
What was that? Sorry.
No, bring back right there.
Yep.
No, that's the highway.
Yeah. Okay. The driveway.
That right there.
That drainage basin.
Yeah.
Where your
Yes. Correct.
Are you connecting to that?
We are not using that as part of our analysis. It is connecting because the existing pipe does come across and goes into here. So everything that's being attenuated and all the treatment is going to happen in this basin, and then it's going to drain into this. So yeah, so we're not using this volume as our attenuation. Everything's going to be handled in that.
Is that lower drainage part of your property, or is it just?
It is, yes. Yeah.
It's counted as part of your property.
Correct. Yeah.
Number one, you can't count wetlands as part of your lot to build.
Okay. No. Yeah.
So
right.
you're way over on your impervious, more than 41%.
Is this considered wetlands? Because they didn't flag, we didn't get it flagged as wetlands, so I'm not sure. And neither was this, so I'm not sure if
We did.
It's not wetlands by the highway, wetlands is behind.
No, that basin that they have there, which is all the drainage from Tractor Supply on, goes into that. And
Is it part of your parcel?
it is correct, yeah. This entire piece right here, it's cut off.
Tractor Supply's drainage is all on the other side, that's just a driveway drainage.
Right, this collects the driveway drainage here. There's a basin right in the corner.
The swamp, the culvert between, from Tractor Supply between that and Tractor Supply.
It's already existing, right? You're dumping into it.
he's dumping into it, and so is the
Tractor
parking
Supply
lot.
can't dump in there, they got that big swamp.
Yeah, Tractor Supply drains to the south of their parking area up to 20.
Yeah, goes out towards 16.
No, it don't drain in that at all. That's just catches the water off the driveway from the highway.
And this basin, right.
Yeah.
It's
That's
there's
all
a
that
connection
catches.
and then there's a.
What
It's
he's
got
talking
nothing to do with
about
Tractor
is that
Supply
basin
itself.
You're gonna connect to, it's already been designed, right?
Correct. Yeah, these have been designed per the last approval. We're just tying into them. We're not modifying this one. We're just modifying the one in the front.
That's design goes with that lot, not Tractor Supply.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
too-
but when we.
Tractor Supply can't tie into that, it'd be illegal, it's on the wrong lot.
No, that was all one lot.
And they subdivided it with the intention of putting a medical building there, and it was built as such. Then the medical people never went in there, that's subdivided. We did the subdivision here,
Yeah, if you look
8
at
years ago, I think.
If you look at drawing 210 in this package here, Connie, you can see in the south edge of the parking area for Tractor Supply and Family Dollar, there is that whole drainage area between Route 28 and the edge of the parking.
Yeah, I was here when we did that, so. That was a drainage, it's supposed to go with the medical building, and they never built it.
And we're roughly the same impervious area as the medical building. We didn't increase that much, if I remember
That's what you
correctly.
mean there.
That was all approved at the time. That was either 7 or 8 years ago, I don't remember which.
I think the plan said 2010, but I could be switched to right 7 years.
2010.
It does look like it covers more than 40% of the whole.
Going on
Oh, do you mind if I?
No.
Do you have your estimate of the impervious coverage of your lot?
Not on. Let me see.
It said 41%.
That's the limit. It says 41
Should be
years?
in the engineering report.
I didn't see that.
50 is what,
Yeah, 50 is the limit, right?
but it's not on there, Bob, it's in the packet that Laura sent to
1
me.
year, okay. Yeah. It's just sitting here. It goes with this.
No, the packet that Laura sent to us last week.
Yeah, this stuff here. Well, this is too small to read.
Yeah. I don't have that on me right now. Thought it was in the engineering report, but
What?
the amount of impervious area there is. Should be in there's a drainage area in that.
It's this lot right here. This lot.
They own over here, and they actually own across from here. This whole lot is theirs at the
So there's about 0.49 acres,
all this drainage is all
and the
approved
property is
back in
1.76,
That's why it's
and the wetlands is 0.17. So, yeah, I think we're good.
Less than 50%.
Is that
Well,
So-
50% is our limit.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So 0.49. 0.49 and it's 1.1 divided by 1.5. So yeah, we're less than 50%.
This person right here, the yellow line, because that's town right there.
Right.
They've got a car on the I'm sorry, I'm looking at the top of that.
Oh, okay.
Put the right away through the property some more. These greens are all designed for this one, they never got built.
Here, and one goes into here, and that's a jurisdiction.
I read it.
Right.
So this is our soil erosion sediment control plan, which has been designed in accordance with NHDES. We're protecting the wetlands with silt fence along the eastern side of the wetlands. The silt fence goes all the way up to the north. We have a stockpile area around here. We have a construction entrance. It's about 50 feet in length off the existing access way, and we're protecting all of the catch basins with silt sack inlet protection. The trenching, we have hay bale protection on each side of the trenching, and we will be restoring the wetlands with, I think, wetland restoration mix and shrubs along the upland, which I'll get to in the planting plan.
It is on 2.11. Zoning compliance table up to the left-hand side. No, left-hand side.
Your other one. Yeah, my other one. Thanks, Connie.
You right-handed people better learn how to tell.
Yeah, it says 40.4%.
I remember right here, people left there trying to
Directional boring, you wouldn't need a wetlands permit.
It's expensive, I heard.
How much does it cost to get a wetlands permit these days?
I don't know. I mean, they are pretty lengthy, the time frame on it. So, I mean, just dealing with them engineering fees could probably equate. But yeah, that's the direction that the client wanted to do. So we went through those application processes.
Is O'Reilly's going to buy this piece from us? Hudson?
The town, this corner piece right here is a town piece.
I don't believe they have. I think the property line they're keeping at this curve. I don't think they have any plans to buy the corner piece.
No. the piece O'Reilly is on now.
Right.
That you're proposing.
Right, okay, yep.
Is now owned by Hutton, right?
Right.
The question I'm asking, are you leasing this piece or are you buying this piece from them?
I'm not sure. I think O'Reilly's might be leasing or to Hutton, or they have the agreement to sell once the permit approval process is.
Because usually we require either a lease agreement or if you're going to buy it, that it's contingent upon a buy and sell agreement. Contingent upon final plans being approved, et cetera, et cetera. We did that with Dollar General.
Okay, I mean, I can definitely get down on that. I'm kind of like the middleman in the financial aspect of this, so I don't know that for sure, but I can definitely find out.
It's a question because you're building on somebody else's land.
Hutton's building. Hutton is the developer.
Hutton is developing.
Correct, yeah. So they will be building O'Reilly's, they will be building a building for O'Reilly's, and then I don't know what happens after that.
Specs.
Right, and O'Reilly's gonna lease it from them.
Right.
Or purchase it, right.
As long as Hutton's building, that's not a problem for us.
But this is a Hutton project, not an O'Reilly project.
Right, yes. Sorry about that. I am representing Hutton Team LLC tonight.
So that other than to say that it's an auto parts store going in there, we don't care who it is.
Right.
He's letting fireworks off out there.
Fireworks?
Say somebody taking a punch.
I'm watching the window, make sure the hole's coming through.
I got it covered.
I was way down, I know.
This is all part of the distraction, though.
Yeah. It's on here. Spoken mirror.
All right, let's move on to, the landscape plan is pretty simple. We have New England erosion control mix along the 2.5 1 slope at the embankment. We are providing some shrubs and overstory trees in the front. And then along the wetland line in the rear, we're providing upland shrubs to restore that area of the wetlands with some overstory trees as well.
There's no mitigation there from the wetlands, it's too small.
There will be mitigation within the wetlands that we trench, correct, yep. And anything that we disturb, that's part of the application that we're currently getting, that's currently in the works. Other than that, everything else is being maintained on this side, and we're seed mix along the front. That's the site plan presentation. Unfortunately, the architect was unable to make it tonight. But I mean, I could try to speak to it, but it's pretty much a CMU building with different shades. I think it's like a earthy shade at the bottom, and I believe it's a red.
That's the standard O'Reilly
package.
package.
Standard O'Reilly package, yeah. If you've ever seen them, or green, yeah. If you've ever seen them,
I'm the guy who usually gets to address the lighting plan here.
oh, right, okay. Let me get a smaller.
Yeah, fortunately, you provided a large one because the small one is, even with a magnifying glass, a little harder to see. It looks good. There's no unit on here. I assume all these numbers are foot candles. Is that it?
Sorry, what was the question?
There are no units given for all these numbers, 4.4, 4.0.
Yeah, it's a foot candle.
candle.
Correct. Yep.
It'd be good to put the unit in there somewhere.
I will, yeah, we, this was also done by the architect's subcontractor, so
Right.
we typically do in-house, but O'Reilly's has their own guy for that.
I just wanted to comment on the plan to, the lights go off automatically 30 minutes after store closure unless there's motion, which they come back on again. That's great. Good. Save a little energy and save a little environmental impact.
Dark sky. Nice fixture too.
Yeah.
Well, your sign has to be off from 12 midnight to 6 a.m.
Right. Yeah, we did read that in the regs.
by
and obviously
the
we would comply.
ordinance that the selectmen have, unless it is open. So,
We will be, it'll be off at that time. We will not be open.
In looking at the specs for the lights, it says, well, they could be 5,000 color temperature, 5,000, 4,000, or 3,000 Kelvin. Our regulations don't actually touch on that subject, but a 3,000 Kelvin will be a warmer light, more compatible with a rural environment, I would
Right.
say. And it would be great if you could do that,
Okay.
rather than a garish blue 5,000 Kelvin light.
Okay, I mean,
I don't think
can
there's a price
definitely-
differential for you.
Okay,
Shouldn't be.
sure, let me write that down.
You get a pen?
Yeah, I got it, thanks.
So, yeah. That's all I have, thank you.
This is the architect down in Missouri?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, they're still using that?
Yeah, Buddy Webb.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I guess that's why.
isn't this in the groundwater protection area?
Yeah, but they're not doing anything that pertains to the prohibitions in a groundwater protection area.
Yeah, but according to them, it says that they're not in it.
I believe
That they don't need a special use permit.
they would need a special use permit, wouldn't they, only if they were proposing to do something that is
Not
restricted or not permitted?
Not permitted.
You know, like fuels, and you're not gonna have any petroleum fuel tanks and that sort of thing, chemicals that could leak into groundwater.
Do I hear a motion that their application is complete?
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Can you repeat that, Connie? Your motion?
The application's
I didn't
complete.
make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I made it.
I'm sorry, Roy.
What was your motion? Roy?
Application's
The
complete.
application's complete. You want to hear the motion, the application's complete, so
I'll
I make
second
it.
Been made and seconded. Any discussion on the application?
The only question I have is I didn't see on here and then
The application.
on the application, no.
Thank you. Any other? All those in favor of accepting the application?
Dennis,
Dennis?
Dennis, you gonna
Go
vote
ahead.
accepting the
Oh,
application?
yes.
Opposed? Dennis?
Buzzing you.
Just looking, watching.
Well, look at shop and there.
You better go back to Mohegan, boy.
That's what happens when I leave my hearing aids on.
I was just gonna say, you gotta turn it up.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions on the plans?
No,
You
I
have one,
answered
Jim.
my own question when looking at one of the plans.
Peter, you look like you're very much in.
No, I do not have any other questions. I was just checking the list.
Bob?
No.
Make a motion that we accept the plans as presented with the following conditions. All state and local permits are filed and accepted by the state and town. The wetlands shall be restored wherever construction is to what they were before construction started. Other than that, I don't have anything else unless somebody else has got something.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Get that? Just I'm looking at it, I'm reading his lips.
That's not possible.
That's a good idea.
Like this cottage.
Could you repeat those conditions, please?
That all towns, state, federal permits are received,
Wetlands.
and the wetlands are to be restored to their previous condition before construction.
Wouldn't you want to make it better and have landscaping?
No, their landscaping is in there.
Okay.
You can't landscape wetlands.
Unless you want to go to jail and pay a lot of fines.
Seeing no discussion, call for a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Good practice. It was nice to see, only because I'm an architect, but it was nice to see just some graphic representation of what the building's going to look like for our own edification.
I never see.
Oftentimes, we
Always comes to like
All of Connecticut, they require elevations.
I have a question for you.
Yep, sure.
In the presentation,
Yes.
I read that you are going to construct this in the grounds to Connecticut specifications.
That's wrong. The NH, everything New Hampshire. I
read that and I said, wait a minute. What the hell does Connecticut do
Well,
with
they might
us?
be tougher than we got, you never know.
They're planning to annex New Hampshire next year.
Yeah, we will provide you guys an updated engineering report, and hopefully we can take all that, anything that you find like that out when we get the alteration of terrain permit settled, and their analysis will be it will be different drainage analysis, but we've done a quick we've done it quickly, and we can satisfy the 10 and the 50. Unfortunately, we got the comments yesterday, so it was one of those things where I couldn't get the whole package to you guys yet, and we couldn't coordinate with the AOT that fast. So
That's okay, we just got it today.
You didn't know Connecticut was part of the swamp, did you?
Oh, I read that in this book, and I'm saying, what do we care about Connecticut? 202 Connecticut guidelines for soil erosion and sediment control prepared by the Connecticut Council on Soil and Water
Might be better than New
Conservation.
Hampshire.
yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, everything goes through me too, so I can't blame anybody else. So yeah, that was a misread by me. So
You could have lied, we wouldn't know the difference.
What was that?
You could have lied about it, we wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah.
But you understand that you have to have all three of those permits?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we've been. It's a slow process, but the AOT is definitely getting back to
You
us.
might get an answer by March.
We actually have to get everything into AOT by like March 21st, which we're going to obviously get in before then. But yeah, that's their deadline for the response to comments. It's the wetlands that we haven't heard anything back from, and the septic, the disposal that we
Well,
haven't
your
heard
septic is also tied into your water, your well,
Right. Yep, they have all that information too. Yeah.
because your well, right, Steve, the well comes first, then your septic.
Yeah, we're definitely. I think we're
They
like.
submitted at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but I mean,
Okay.
they won't approve the septic without, unless you're on city water.
1,500.
Okay.
They may.
It's a little tricky down there.
Yeah.
We've had people that have waited, what, 6 months,
Quite a while.
and they're still, everything's still pending with them.
Yeah. Connecticut's no better. It really isn't. They, yeah, I think it's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
We're about lucky you break ground about May.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. They're pretty quick too when they do go up, so it'll once we do get all the approvals and they start construction, it'll be up. It's not like one of those long construction processes that you'll drive by every day and be like, when is this going to be? They're pretty quick. So.
Did they ever get around to getting any of that stuff approved when they were gonna put that medical unit in there, or?
The what unit?
They were gonna put a medical building there.
Yeah.
7, 8 years ago. Did they actually start any of those grids way back then?
I don't think they actually completed any of the AOT, all the state level. They didn't. I don't think they had.
I think you referenced it to earlier plans.
Right. I think you guys approved it, but I don't know if it was approved with conditions with the state, and the state never.
We wouldn't approve it without condition of the state approval. I was just curious.
Yeah.
If they approved the stuff once, it might be a little bit quicker. If they didn't, it won't be, you know.
Right. I think it lapsed though. I think with the AOT and the wetlands, I think we had to go back because it wasn't. I think
it does lapse.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years or 3 years, something like that?
They have it on record.
But,
so
generally, if the laws hadn't changed to what's on record, it's a little easier the second time. Not always 2 years.
The laws did change for the AOT because we weren't putting a hydrodynamic separator in the original plans that we were submitting, and we just had like a filter strip and stuff. But they came back and said, no, we now do pre-treatment with the treatment, so we had to add the hydrodynamic separator in. So they did, that is a recent change within the year.
At least they're being good, letting you know right away.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they'll change something next month.
Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming up.
No problem. I actually live in Massachusetts, so it wasn't that bad. It wasn't a Connecticut drive up. You know, so. I will get out of here.
All right, we're going back to the special use permit application and the subdivision and boundary line adjustment application checklist present. Revision. Anyone found anything that they wanted to change? Or is draft fine? Hearing no comments, I make a motion that we accept the drafts for the special use permit application, checklist for the boundary line adjustment and subdivision approval.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. We have a couple of revisions in our site plan regs that we voted in last week. We just have to have a re-vote on it because the lawyer has changed the wording. So,
He didn't change the wording, he just made it legal.
well,
He used legal terminology versus what I had in there.
he still changed the legal, he's changed the words, but he didn't change the intent. So, and the other thing we had was section 11.02 that we're just going to refer to RSA 674, semicolon 39, and leave it at that. We had changed it from one year to 2 years, but it's superseded by a 5-year exception in RSA 674-39. So instead of going through the whole thing, we'll just put it, refer to RSA 674-39. Make a motion that we accept the revisions as made by the attorney to make it legal.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. That leaves us with Mr. McConaughey. That building inspector.
I'm gonna pass this around and need y'all to sign this.
Did you use it there today's date? No, it's date of adoption, date of amendment, November 30th. We did take it November 30th.
I can just go through and revise down here.
I suppose you don't have a pen.
I do, it's in my other shirt pocket.
You gonna pass it around, Jim?
No, I got extra too. Go ahead. You can take that one with you.
Thank you.
Every time I
That's
go
the
to
type of pen I got.
Every time I go to the bank, I grab another one.
I do too, but there's not one in this pocket. I thought I had one, but no. Thank you.
Okay. Zoning.
I had one nice pen, it went to the wash machine. Didn't make it.
They don't like that.
No. Shirt didn't like it either.
All right, Steve. Present your case, please.
Yeah, you all have a list of ordinance changes. Accessory buildings, definitions. Basically what you're looking at are the green tents, the temporary structures. They're 30, 60 feet long. Just looking for the same setbacks as an accessory dwelling. 25 feet off the side and 40 feet off the road.
You don't have that in this.
What's that?
You don't have that in this.
It says they shall have the same setback requirements as accessory buildings.
The only problem you're gonna have is the legislature passed a law allowing hoop buildings.
On what?
Hoop buildings,
Oh, really?
yes,
As an accessory structure?
yes.
Wow.
I don't know what the RSA is, and until I find that out, but they call them hoop or tunnel buildings.
Right,
Mostly they were done for agriculture,
right. And now people are using them for storage, garages, whatever.
correct? But that, if that's the law, we can't write something different.
No kidding.
Well, they can have it. I'm looking for the setbacks. So they can't, people are using these for a fence right on the water because they don't like their neighbor. Some of them are 60 feet long. You gotta, and they're 20 feet tall. You gotta do something. Anybody can put them on the property. I have no problem. It's a temporary structure. Well, that's what they say.
Now see, the hoop buildings can have a side, a front, and a back, and a roof. So how are you gonna get around that with this? But no front, back, or sides included.
A lot of them have no sides or no back on them. It's just whatever's canvas, cotton, however you want to do it, they have to have a setback off the road and off the property line. That's it.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah, if they had a back or a side, then they kind of fall under a
That's
structure.
still temporary.
but it's still defined as a
Still
structure at
structure.
that point.
These here are temporary.
Which is not taxed.
They're all temporary. They become permanent. Nobody ever moves them, but they're temporary. And I haven't got anything to stand on. That's what they are.
I'll throw it out to the board because I'm not comfortable with it at this time.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because if he said an accessory building or a temporary building shall require the setbacks, I'd say fine. But if you're gonna start defining it, no back, no sides, no nothing, other than a roof.
Also, you have to
It's
spell
just
accessory
it's
with
just a
2 Cs.
canopy, that's all that is. No sides, no back, no front.
Yeah, he defines it as an open structure can have a
Right.
roof. So it's defined as an open structure as opposed to
A hoop building by the legislature can have sides, backs, and front.
now, do
Because
they
they
consider-
use them as hothouses. Prime example,
Right, no, I know what you're saying, yep.
prime example is right down here at Deer Cow.
Mhm.
So you're gonna deny them with that.
The hoop just stands up in the winter without
Well-
the plastic on it, right?
No, they.
What my question is for you, Connie, and maybe we don't,
Sam, excuse me,
sure,
Deer Cap has one right on
their greenhouse.
their greenhouse that they sell out of.
Right,
That
Right.
is what,
right. So it's still a structure.
it might be a structure, but according to this, it can't have any front, any back, or any sides.
No,
No,
I'm not sure that's true,
No,
Connie,
that's
because
not.
Steve points out, he's calling it
Open
an open.
structures can have a roof, but no.
I agree with Connie when I read it.
And he's saying to include canvas and aluminum structures, those that are classified as open structures. Okay, what about a hoop? What about a greenhouse?
I think we should add that in there. If we're gonna do one, we have to include those which do have the backs.
Cut them all out.
Or why don't we just say, but may have front, backs, or
There
may
goes
not
cops.
have.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
My suggestion is
No, you're right, Connie.
that if you want to put
Ambiguous.
a structure, temporary or permanent, shall have the same setbacks.
Right.
That'll work.
Yeah,
That'll work.
yeah, I like that.
What
wording.
you're after is setbacks.
Yeah, I'm looking for setbacks, exactly.
You're not looking for the structure.
Yeah, I wouldn't even,
I wouldn't put any structure in there. No, I mean, I would define it as a building.
yeah, I wouldn't call it open structure. I would just call it a, because if the state has just agreed that these canopy structures are, I'm sorry, the hoop structures are now falling under accessory buildings.
They're not. They're not saying they're accessory
Oh,
buildings.
they're not. Oh, okay.
This was passed maybe 10, maybe 12 years ago.
Oh,
This is not a new.
oh, I thought it was recent.
No.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, Dave Babson is the one that told me about it. And he's been out of the legislature, what, 4 years? Something like that.
Right, okay. So,
And he
so,
was one of the sponsors because of agriculture.
absolutely. So maybe
You
we
want-
word this to say basically to include canvas and aluminum structures.
No, don't put anything of aluminum or
Any structures temporary or otherwise.
Okay.
Just
there you go.
temporary.
Yeah, yeah. That way you don't limit it to that material.
Anything.
Because somebody could build a
Hey.
PVC pipe with the plastic.
playhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
a kid's playhouse gotta be
Right.
setbacks.
Right.
Is that agreeable with you, Steve?
Yes, sir.
I'm good with that.
All right, somebody make a motion so that, because this has got to go before for the people. This is a zoning change.
So any structure that temporary or otherwise have to meet the setbacks, is that what we
Any
need.
temporary structures?
Yeah, because we already have that clause for other types of structures, but if we say any,
Any structures temporary otherwise covers the whole thing.
right, right,
Exactly.
I agree. So I make a motion that we change the wording to.
That's my
Any
motion.
structures or-
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know
I'll
that.
second it.
Just wanted to make sure I had it right.
So how is it gonna read now? What's the final revised version?
Any structure temporary otherwise has to meet our setback.
Oh, okay, good.
Well,
Has to meet the setback requirements as accessory buildings.
No, as any building, temporary otherwise covers it.
Okay.
You're making it complicated again.
I got you. So we're not differentiating between any building and an accessory building. This is building, period.
But basically, if they put up a tent, they gotta meet the setback.
Well, that's the next paragraph, I think, on the campus.
Okay.
well, before we vote on that, I can't have them, withdraw that for a few minutes while I do some research here.
You gotta redraw your second for a minute.
I withdraw my second.
Thank you.
I'll put temporary hold them on.
All right. Steve, explain your next, is this a zoning change?
The camp is going from 14 days to
Is
30
this a
days.
zoning change?
It's a zoning change.
Okay.
Private camp, the private campsites,
These are your campsites, right?
Okay.
Campsites.
is that a new zoning ordinance or
Well, the old zoning ordinance is 14 days. Allowed.
What
what's
section is
the
it?
ordinance number?
What's the number, the section?
Good question.
Exactly. That's why I asked.
I should have that.
Yes.
Where is it?
It says 14 days.
Page 14.
Trailers can't, 14 days, so 4.9?
4.9.
4.9.
4.9?
Yep.
Yeah, it's 4.9 here.
Right on here.
Okay.
What is 4.9 now, zoning at this point?
Travel trailers.
Yeah, 4.9 is the travel trailers and campers.
So, Steve, this whole section that you have here listed, private campsites, that'll all fall under 4.9?
4.9, which would be.
As
yes.
well as the next one you've got
Right,
noted as well?
right.
Okay.
Okay, so it's all 4.9.
Yeah.
4.9.
A small question, Steve. It says here that recreational vehicles shall be disconnected from all utilities while unoccupied. We have an RV on the property which needs to be connected to power so that the batteries remain charged through the winter.
Yeah.
That's a utility.
You can plug your motorhome in just like a car.
Thank you.
If I was an extension cord, charge your batteries.
Yep. But it's continuous. It's continuous charge. Trickle charge.
The trickle charger. This
I got
is
a
water
question.
and sewer.
I
No
got a
water
question
sewer.
here about your tents. You're saying they're gonna be classed as unoccupied. They sell tents for kids and stuff for playhouses. Technically, they gotta collapse them. The kids are not in the way this is.
No.
I got a little problem with that.
Mm.
My daughter had a play TV for years. We used to put up leave up all summer long. But she didn't sleep in it. It was just like playhouse TV.
Yeah, we're working with something here, Roy. It's 10 days. Most tents are gonna be set next to your house. For your kids. I just need something to work with.
Every 29 days you have to take it down and start over.
And I don't have to tell you no, I don't have to tell you what's been going on.
Right.
And
right.
people are living in, they're year-round residents, and it's a tent. I need a leg to stand on.
Tent sleeping over a damn sewer in Boston, I think, but that's beside the point. you know, once again, government's not the cure, in my opinion, government's the problem. And right, once again, we're getting to the point where government's taking over, the government's now building permits for everything.
I
mean,
got
we're
a
right
problem.
back to what we're trying to avoid.
I got a problem with the first sentence.
What's that?
One private campsite per lot. There's people down on 16B that have 10 to 12 people that come up and sleep in tents in their backyard for a week or so.
Right, right.
Some church or something that,
Or just if they have a large extended family and
No,
kids are all camped out in the tents?
it's not kids, it's
No.
something to do with organization.
Oh, okay. But what, let's just say, use that argument though, if you have.
You talking an event?
They have meetings.
So what is a campsite? Can it be up to ½ acre?
Yeah, well, that's another thing is, what is a camp? Are you, if I have Harry Morrow and I got 50 acres up on the mountain, and you're gonna, or I'm Steve, and I got 50 acres in the backyard,
That's a big campsite.
and I put up one camper, I'm done.
A camper.
Or a tent.
Okay.
Well,
It's not gonna be a campground.
But let's take this circumstance. If both my kids come up and visit me in the summertime and each one of them puts a tent in my backyard.
Absolutely, and I agree with you there. They should be able to do that.
Okay.
And stay there as long as they want.
Right, right.
But it gets out of control.
No, but what I'm saying is, by this
in the first
definition, it
sentence,
says one is allowed.
Well, one campsite, one private campsite. What, if you're gonna say a private campsite,
What is it?
you've got to give us a
A
number
definition.
of, the 10 tents is a campsite.
Yeah, what is the definition of a campsite?
Right.
Because somebody's gonna ask that question of
That's
you.
gonna be your next question.
Why don't we just go back to the
I think we do
campsites?
have that in here.
All campsites more than 10 consecutive days has to be approved by the town, period.
What's that?
Why don't we just go, rather than trying to put this element on, go with all campsites have to be approved by the town after 10 days, 10 consecutive days. That takes care of the whole problem. We're getting to, what's
30
that?
days. Right now it's only 14 days, but I'm out for 30 days.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's
Yeah.
go to 30
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
But, just the 10 consecutive days of the campers, I'm sorry. But go the 30 days to the campsite, and that's it, period, for any campsites that are private. And that covers the whole problem and takes care of the other problem you're worried about.
But they'll have to come in for what, a permit? After 10 days? Basically what I'm looking for is how they get rid of the storage.
Well, they can come in after 10 days, but let's say if they're up to my house, let's say, and I got 2 or 3 bathrooms, and I got 2 or 3
Exactly.
guys camping.
Exactly, and
I've got the leach field, if they want to use my house, fine, just come notify the town they're gonna be using the bathroom.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But why limit to 1 tent or 2 tents or 3 tents? Let's just go to the 30 days and they gotta notify the town beyond 30 days. And why?
What do we have now is campgrounds?
What we got now for campgrounds?
Yeah, 10 acres or more before you can have a campground. What's considered a campground? 2, 3 campsites?
Yeah, but if
Now we're getting involved.
If you got private parties staying at your place and you're not taking any money in, I don't have a problem with that.
No, I agree with you 100% on
If
that.
they're
I'm
taking,
talking-
but if you're charging, you're now a campground.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
talking
care whether it's
private.
1 site or 10 sites.
We're talking private lots too.
Yeah. But
Steve, I
even
would-
private lots.
I would
If
suggest
they're
one
taking money
private,
in,
a private commercial.
Whoa,
campsite.
whoa, whoa!
Oh, I thought
I only gotta have one at a time, please.
but if they're taking money in, it's no longer a private campground, it's
Right,
commercial.
It says right there.
Yeah. But I think we're overkill, that's all.
Okay. Jim, you're up next.
Me, okay, yeah, all I was gonna suggest was that instead of saying one private campsite, why don't we just word it that says a campsite is allowed for a period no longer than 30 days consecutive. It doesn't say private, it doesn't say, you know, whatever, it's just a campsite. Because we're talking about, you know, a private campsite. Not one, but just a private campsite.
Yep.
And not even say per lot is allowed, I just say a private campsite is allowed for a period of no more than 30 days, because in our zoning, we also have something that defines, you know, what a campground is, and that's a different, and
Exactly.
if, that way we say to the homeowner that they can have a private campsite, but no more than 30 consecutive days.
With a permit after 10. You're not to address the gray water and the sewage. You need to know where that stuff's going. I mean, what do you,
Well,
what
that's
do
in
you
the
got
next,
for gray
that's in the
water
next,
running out
that's
there
in the
to your
next
well?
sentence, that where he talks about 10 consecutive days of permitting. I'm just saying about that first line, I would just change it to say, a campsite is allowed for a period of, a private campsite is allowed for a period of no longer than 30 days consecutive. And then the next bullet is the one that has to do with 10 consecutive in permits.
Should be part of the first one, should be addended to that, Steve?
Excuse me?
What'd you say, Sam?
I wonder if the 10 days should be amended, added to the back, the bottom of that, addended to that line. If it should be its own line. People are gonna read what they wanna read, and that's that first line is what they're gonna read.
Well, but this is all of these, Sam, are bullets that identify regulations for a private campsite. And I think having it as the, I mean, you could put the first one second and the second one first, or whatever.
Just the private campsites allowed for a period of 30, period no longer than 30 days consecutive.
Right, and then the next bullet is just, has to do with 10 days, then the permitting for water and sewer disposal, and on and on and on.
One little thought here. All of our campgrounds are private. What you really want to say, I think, is one private non-commercial campsite, or a private non-commercial campsite is allowed. Distinguish between this and any campground.
Well, we have
No, you're
campground
wrong,
campsites.
Bob, because the public can go on any one of those campsites.
That's right.
Yeah,
But they cannot go on your property without your permission.
And they cannot go on those campground property, on those campsites without the permission of the owner of the campground.
Yes, they can.
And they
I
are
mean,
private
Absolutely not.
businesses. They're private
if you,
businesses.
if
This is a very, exactly what you're describing is a very common misconception. If I own a business, no matter how I service the public, I am not a municipality, I am a private business, and I dictate what happens on my property. I can refuse service to whoever I wish,
That's my point.
I can
No,
throw
you
them
can't.
off,
Yes, you can.
No, you
I most
can't.
certainly can.
No, you cannot, because the Supreme Court's got a case in front of it now.
On a discriminatory
Another
basis, you
case.
cannot, but that's different.
That's something completely different.
No, it isn't. You said you could deny to anyone. He denied making the cake for him. He's in the Superior Court,
Supreme Court now.
Supreme Court.
You could only
You're right, and you know what?
Make the cake at the campground.
I understand that, but they're not gonna take away his rights, despite of whatever it was. I don't care, I don't wanna discuss Supreme Court cases,
We're
but you
getting off track.
We're getting
cannot,
off track.
I'm just trying to help you guys understand something, that just because you provide a service to the public, doesn't mean you're a public entity.
No, if I may, we have a separate ordinance that talks about recreational camping parks, and those that you refer to as public parks, Bob, we define them by name as a recreational camping park. So that's a separate ordinance that deals with campgrounds
I'm
per
just
se.
striving for clarity.
No,
here, so
absolutely.
He's suggesting inserting the word non-commercial there, that's all.
Dennis, you wanted to say something?
Just what he just said, we do have an ordinance for recreational camping parks, and they have stringent rules that they have to follow. It lists all the things, basically, what Steve's asking here for a private one. They have to show that they have septic, they have to show all these different water, they have to show if you're at a recreational park. And I think we should have something for a private. I think it's a good move.
Well, basically, the 30 days or 14 days now. If they're gonna be there longer than 10 days, they have to, somebody has to let Steve know what the facilities are gonna be.
Right.
If they're using somebody's house and stuff, fine.
Right.
If not, they have to have something else.
But if they don't,
So-
then he has something he can go to.
Well, right, and that
and
gives
say,
it,
you have to meet these, you can't.
Exactly, that's my point.
gives the sound of protection it needs.
That way you
You
don't
wanna
sit there
mull
telling
that
them they
one
can't have a
over.
tent for the kid outside or something like that.
You want to mull that one over a little while, we can. But Steve, Going back to the structure,
The first one?
and while I'm reading that, the grill came in with to us with a sketch of what he wanted to do with the clamshell. I happened to run across it the other day when I was cleaning my briefcase out. He's got a 7-foot fence in there. Well, according to that, anything over a 6-foot fence is a structure. So if he's got a 7-foot fence, he doesn't need our permission to put that clamshell in.
Yeah, 3 walls of it are gonna be part of the fence anyway. It's just that the fence is gonna jog and he's putting a cover
No,
on.
he has to have the fence in there
Right.
for the booze.
Right.
In that little shed. He ran a fence from the grill to the shed.
Right.
Then from the shed, back of the shed, back to the grill.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
And what he wanted to do was put that clamshell in there. Well, according to this structure right here, anything over a 6-foot fence is a structure. So we have no control over
If he
that
won't use it.
clamshell.
Oh, good point. Regardless of whether it's roofed over or not, because he could come back and say to us, he's just creating a jog in his fence.
But it's a
if
structure. He
but
said
if
a
it's-
structure.
Exactly,
Within
exactly.
the structure.
Exactly.
Within the
We
structure.
have no control inside a structure.
Oh, I agree, I agree.
But
So,
the fence may have to come down, Connie, because that should have been up to the ZBA. Simple as that. That's what I tried to tell you last time.
it was done by us, this planning board,
What?
Fence,
that fence.
You gave permission? to put
Yes.
the
Yes,
fence
we
up?
did.
that's in the plans.
That's
That
his
was
part of his
part
site plan
of
review.
his site plan.
We made him do it for the booze.
He has to do it for the booze.
We made him do it.
Oh, that's right, that's a state
State
regulation.
requirement.
State
Has to
So
be.
all you do is
So
fall
he doesn't
back,
have to go to the ZBA.
For
It's a
anything.
state requirement.
you just fall back on that state regulation from the state liquor board or
Well,
whatever.
let me
it's
look
called.
into this. Can we table this for tonight?
Well, I mean, I'm just bringing it out to you at this time.
I believe the stableman requires a
I
4-foot
mean,
fence.
You said that he withdrew his site plan.
6 or whatever,
A separation.
separation.
You look into it,
We had to go for an outside, he doesn't, you're saying,
No, you don't, because it's a 7-foot fence.
because it's all inside a structure, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to double check the structure.
you know, I'm just saying what he had on his paper that he brought in. I can find it. Anyways, but if you read the structure
Yeah, oh, I know
definition,
what the structure says, yeah.
no, I mean, how you want to change it. How are you gonna add that in there?
Oh, right here, what we just put down, temporary. It's a temporary structure. I'm trying to get setbacks off the road, off property lines. That's what I'm looking for.
You've already got a setback.
We're looking for setbacks,
You already have it as an ordinance.
not for the tents. I don't.
If you're gonna call the tent a structure,
It's a temporary, whatever you wanna call it. It's not,
You're talking about like shelters and stuff,
it's
right?
a shelter, that's all it is.
Like storage shelter.
But if it's open-ended, it doesn't qualify it as a structure, because it's just a roof.
7-foot fence is structure, there's no roof on that.
But by our own definition, you know, a structure is defined as a building that has a roof and walls.
I mean, I just want to know how you want to change that ordinance of definition of a structure, that you've got to write it up that way.
The structure itself is great. I like the accessory structure the way it's written. I would like these temporary canvas, whatever you want to call them, to have temporaries. I want them to have the same setback requirements.
I thought we already did that with what I just made the motion for a while ago.
Yeah,
Then you shouldn't be putting it under there. Shouldn't be under structure. It should be under accessory building.
Yeah, that's what he's got, that's what he says on his sheet, it's
No,
accessory
he's
building.
trying to change structure.
No.
No,
he's
No,
not.
I'm not.
no.
You're trying to change the statute for structures.
No, I don't want to change anything for structure. Structure is a structure. I want the same requirement for a temporary tent.
Then it should go under accessory buildings, a
That's-
subordinate building,
That's what you've got.
which,
That's what it says.
which you've got to change.
That's 4.9.
Because it says a subordinate building. And under building, any structure having a roof and intended for shelter, housing, or enclosure of persons, animals, or property.
Nothing's a structure, it's not a structure. That's the problem. It's not a structure. This is a temporary tent, is what it is. I'm asking for the setbacks for a temporary tent to be 25 feet and 40 feet, same as an accessory structure.
But the accessory building,
I'm trying to add this under the accessory building.
And which section is that?
well, accessory building should be changed to eliminate the main building. I don't believe that should be in there because we have properties, lots that are on this, in this town that I just have a, the only way they got it was a warehouse. That's what they called it. And that's on a single lot, but the main building, I think the main building should be taken out of that. But, I mean, if I want.
There's a lot of people complaining about that.
Yeah, because I go on by, now according to Tim's presenter last night, we have 51% of this town is buildable. In addition to what is already built. So, if I buy 5 acres up on a mountain, and I want to build my house, but I want to put a building to store my materials and my equipment, I can't do it under our ordinance.
Unless you're gonna have unless you're gonna have living quarters there. Or are you building? Then
That's what I'm saying, is that you should be able to do it, but you can't according to our zoning ordinances.
4.4.
Right. You're absolutely right.
So, I mean, I would like, if we're gonna change things, let's go all the way.
Again, if you wanna table it to the next meeting, fine.
Well, I mean, we're starting to run out of time.
Maybe the next meeting.
Structures and uses
I've got
of
2 or
land.
3 people right now, and that's exactly what's going on. It's all after the fact.
What are you gonna do?
35.6.
Exactly. What am I gonna do?
Sorry, say that again?
You go in front of the ZBA at $600,
1,085.
give or take, to see if they can get a special exception to keep that building. How do you think they feel? These are the residents.
I've said this for years. It's the 3rd year I've said it.
Let me look into it. Next meeting, I'll bring something up.
Yes, Laura, give it to him.
No, that's not my job.
No.
What is this? Page 2 of your agenda is the time frame that we have for having public hearings and posting for public hearings for changing the zoning ordinances.
Wednesday, December 13th.
Is to petition, for petitions.
Friday, January 12th is the last day to publish.
Post the
Are we
notice.
tabling this? Are you guys
Wow.
tabling this accessory building thing? Because we're still working on the language for that, right? So I was
Working on the language.
okay. So let me throw this out there. Any temporary or portable canopy, carport, garage, or tent shall be subject to all setbacks. And then we'll throw in the last line that you had. They shall have the same setback requirements as accessory buildings. So I put canopy, carport, or I put temporary or portable because that's what I wanted to look up online. I was trying to remember what that word was, and they classify them as portable garages.
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted to get that in canopies because obviously that would just be the top with no sides or back.
And you're not defining materials because they come in various materials.
Correct.
So
Yes.
why wasn't the motion I made the one that covered? They did the same thing with less words, didn't it?
I have no idea what motion you made, but if you...
She'll have to read it back
we can-
now.
We can have that read back to us. I don't know about less words, but I think we do need to, we do need to define the fact that we're looking for temporary or portable, you know, canopy, carport, garage, or tent.
I do believe any, I said something like any structure or otherwise.
Well, that was the hang-up here, the word structure. We didn't want to define it as a structure, right? Because the structure has sides and
Any
backs.
structure
according to-
or otherwise. Otherwise, anything, period.
I think you yourself, as being a guy who's always afraid of people overstepping, should not want to leave it open-ended like that by saying otherwise.
I think you covered just about everything there.
Sounds good to me.
Any portable, canvas, any of that, it all falls under what you just
Canopy,
said.
carport, or temporary or portable, canopy, carport, garage, or tent shall be subject to all setbacks.
Yeah.
I don't, let's not define material, because you're right, it does come in.
I
all
would also
different
use the
flavors.
word shelter in there because that does fall under our definitions in our accessory building. Just use the term shelter as well.
No, shelter can mean anything.
But what I'm saying, Connie, is that's also the word is used in our definition of an accessory building. So I would just, you know,
You know what I mean?
because a tent is a shelter, you know, if you want to look at it that way.
What do they call those? Group building shelters.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Shelter Logic, yeah, is one of the companies, that's why it was,
Yep.
it's a good
Yeah,
idea,
yeah.
So let me make a motion.
You got a motion already, don't you?
Oh, we do, I'm sorry.
No, we don't.
No, not on the floor, but what happened to the motion that Roy made? Let's get it read back.
temporarily
withdrawn.
withdrew.
Oh, you withdrew it.
Yeah.
So Peter can make a motion.
Okay. Sorry,
Because
Peter.
we were
You good?
trying to go with
Make
it.
that motion so we
Go.
can go home.
Find
All
out.
right, here we go. I would like to make a motion that the language for the accessory buildings is as follows, or added to accessory buildings.
No, you either gotta add it to this,
Okay.
Section.
and
I don't have a,
accessory building is a subordinate building incidental to and on the same lot occupied by the main building
okay,
or use. And the main building is the
Page, please.
yes.
71.
71 and what's, oh, that was on that page too.
And that
The problem,
Now, does that thing there he talked about before, not to be rude here, about the building and this problem he's got, would that be included in what he's making?
well,
motion
according,
for?
okay, if you leave that main building in there, yes.
So we need to take the main out, does he need to make that in the motion?
Okay, can we, I just need to know what section that is so I can make this motion. I don't really.
70, well, it's on page 71.
Those are
71
definitions.
accessory
Yeah,
building.
okay, that's, and we're working on definitions here, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that is accessory building, this one. So we're gonna, all right, here we go. So that's Article 33 of 30.2. Okay, that's all on 30.2, is that correct?
No, it's under 33 definitions.
Okay.
Article 33.
Article 33, thank you. Article 33 definitions. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to add the following. I would like to make the motion to add the following as read. Any temporary or portable canopy, carport, garage, shelter, or tent shall be subject to all setbacks, period. They shall have the same setback requirements as accessory buildings, period.
There is no setbacks on accessory buildings.
Not specifically for accessory, yeah. It's a lot setback.
Okay, so let's strike that last part then. I'll remake the motion. There are no setbacks for accessory buildings?
That's the problem, he wants to
Not
get setbacks
specifically
on.
for accessory buildings.
That's why I made the motion the way I did.
Yes,
There's setbacks.
yes, yeah, there are setbacks.
For accessory buildings, yeah.
So, okay. so-
Accessory buildings have to
setback.
meet the same
Yeah, it's-
setback
it's the temporary buildings that
requirements
have
as
the
the house on
setbacks.
the lot.
Yeah, temporary.
Yeah.
You're right, I'm wrong.
I'll leave the motion as stands.
Leave it as it is.
I second that motion.
So what is the heading for the definition?
Definitions, yes, it's gonna be under
Accessory
33.
building.
Accessory building.
Accessory
No,
buildings.
Accessory building.
Accessory buildings, yeah.
So you're taking this subordinate building completely out. That's in there now.
Well, that defines what an accessory building is.
Right.
Yeah.
Go under that.
Which does not still, like Steve says, he's got 3 cases now that have to go in front of the ZBA because they have a building which is not their main building on their lot,
Right.
and they're trying to build a house, which is not allowed.
Right, right, right.
So how we change that with this?
Well, you're gonna have to come down and say that, you may have without the main building, if, for a 1 year or something, if you're building a house and make progress on it. Same as we do in the subdivision.
That's like a special permit requirement, Connie? Is that what you're saying?
Are you trying to get the Steve to address those issues as well?
I don't know what you're getting at.
Because I'm confused.
If you
I
wanna
thought we
build a
just-
house, you wanna put a camper there for up to a year, maybe even 2, fine. As you're building.
That's not,
But that's not allowed.
That is allowed.
No, it's not. A camper is, but an
A camper is.
accessory building is not.
He said camp.
That's why I said a camper.
Yeah, I'm talking about, I go in and I put up a barn.
Doesn't even have to be a barn, it could be a shed. You're
A
absolutely
shed,
right.
whatever.
You're right. You're right.
It's not a camper,
That's right.
so it's not covered under that.
That's right. That's right.
That's why we're trying to figure out how to cover it.
But at the same time, if somebody puts a camper in there, says I'm building a house, this is the shed that's going with the house, it all goes up at the same time. You can do that.
But then you're calling the camper the main building.
Camp is where they're living while they're building it. For up to a
I
year.
think they're separate issues, Connie.
It's
Oh.
two separate issues.
I mean,
I believe they are.
I don't know, I mean, I mean,
I do
you got
understand.
that guy down on Pine River Road that's putting up a brand, a porch on there, fully enclosed and insulated and everything else.
Pine River Road, well, the fire job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did he get a permit for that?
You got a permit, that's all temporary, right there, it's coming out. Once the house is built in a year,
That-
he's redoing it.
That dish they put on the trailer.
Yeah, that's just sitting on the tile, it's very temporary. He's got a wood stove actually in there.
Yeah, I know.
And that's while he rebuilds the house, had a fire. He's rebuilding the house. He bought it. He's leaving the first floor, he's going up. Give him a year, get me out of there.
Okay.
But the definition that Pete just gave us is added on to our definition of an accessory building. It's one of the clarifications. It not only says, now we're saying that this is the definition of what an accessory building is, and Pete is now adding some language that tells what it has to be. What it has to satisfy as far as,
Including, yes.
Yes,
Yeah, we're
right.
Including these
which
items.
clarifies our definition of an accessory building,
Yeah.
as opposed to having a separate section further back in the zoning.
So are we
That
calling
pertains
these
to-
hoop things accessory buildings now?
You what?
The hoop tents, like shelters, are we calling them accessory buildings, what you
That's
call them?
furniture.
They're not accessory buildings,
For this-
because
for
the
this-
state,
for this
they're
purpose.
temporary structures.
this purpose, you would. Any structure, any kind of
But the
structure.
way he's wording it, he's calling it an accessory building, and it's no longer a temporary structure.
Well, that's the thing I don't understand, as far as the state's, you know, the new ordinance that's come out from the state that
It's
says.
been out 12 years.
Well, when they were just talking about this new thing with accessory buildings, do they make a distinction whether they're permanent or temporary buildings in that new state requirement or state regulation?
It's 12 years old. My mother and father's had hot houses, Dad's gone now, but they've had hot houses for years, of temporary structures.
I'm not saying
And
temporary, I'm
then
saying
the towns
accessory.
tried to tax them, so the state stepped in and went back, called temporary structures.
Right.
And they're closed in on the ends, they're heated in the winter for plants, and those are still a temporary structure. You're now trying to call them, the way I understand what this is going, as an accessory building.
Well,
That's not the same as a temporary structure.
Roy,
Trying to get them to fit under the setbacks, that's
I
all.
understand that, I just want to get it worded properly.
I hear what you're saying, but, you know, by definition, it says a subordinate building incidental to and on the same lot occupied by the main building. A temporary structure can be a subordinate building incidental to a primary structure.
That's what worries me, I'm not so sure about that.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah. I don't know how to, handle that. I mean, do we actually have a second, you know, line in there that says temporary structures fall under this definition or something like that? Or do we have a new definition that says what a temporary structure is?
I asked Ed what he thinks. I'm gonna ask
What's the
anyway.
definition for building?
I mean, these are our definitions to define what certain things are that are referenced in our zoning. Perhaps we need to add a definition that defines what a
No.
temporary structure is.
Sorry to hear.
The building is in there, under building.
Just below accessory building is the definition for building.
Enclosure of persons, animals, or property. So, right.
And all it
So,
does have to have is a roof.
Right. So perhaps that language that Pete just gave us should fall under the definition of building, not under accessory building. Because that's where it's defined as housing or shelter or enclosure of persons, animals, or property. No?
No.
Bob, go on.
Because if it's classified as a building, then it already has to meet setbacks. Buildings have to meet setbacks. And now we're trying to get these little things away from the boundary lines. You know, these little canvas structures.
That's why I said temporary structures or otherwise.
Thanks, Rick.
It covered
Yeah,
everything.
that's why, that's exactly what I was saying. Maybe we need to actually create a new definition that defines what a temporary structure
Good night,
is.
Rick.
Any thoughts?
Drive safe, Rick.
See, you got your own cure for this.
It's all your fault.
Help me out, Tony.
Because on the building, any structure having a roof,
We're not calling it a structure, it's just temporary. Whatever you want to call it.
And I didn't call it a structure in my motion.
well,
I
That's
said
the
any
problem.
temporary or portable canopy, carport, garage, shelter, or tent.
And any
And
surrounding towns have the same problem.
I avoided the word structure on purpose because we've already got stuff to cover that. We want to cover temporary or portable buildings or whatever, you know, I mean.
You see, that's the problem right there. You start classifying it in buildings.
Correct, and that's why I avoided the word building and
Change the
structure.
definition.
I'm just using that definition to get these guys to come around.
Anything with a roof.
Right.
Covers everything.
Anything you walk into, I
Carl,
suppose.
the thing is, if you change structure,
Structure's not in there.
No.
He didn't even mention the
No.
word structure.
I purposely left out structure or building for that exact reason, because I'm trying to cover exactly what Steve wants, which is carports, canopies, temporary or portable garages, tents.
Right.
And I threw the
I
word
am not
shelter in
saying
there.
that, Peter. What I'm saying is a building, any structure, if you change the definition of structure to meet your classification, then Steve has this right here.
Right.
Any structure having a roof. Then he can say, wait a minute, according to our, that's a structure, you have to have your setbacks.
Well, the state calls them temporary structures anyway.
Yep.
So the word's already, structure's already in there.
Any
We have to
structure
meet setbacks
permanent
by
or
that
temporary,
standard.
Stephen?
What's that?
Any structure permanent or temporary? Can you change the wording to that?
Temporary.
Well, any structure, permanent or temporary, having a roof and intended for shelter, housing, enclosure of persons, animals, or property. Did that cover it right there? That would make it simple. Oh, jeez.
What that does though is we have a definition in our zoning that, for the word, for the building, for us, the word structure. Perhaps
Common sense.
that's where we add something
Yeah,
about
the
temporary.
About an hour ago, that's what I brought out.
Yep.
But everybody said, no, it's wrong, you're wrong. So, when you people have got to decide how you want to do it, whether you want to do it on the building, accessory building, or structures, please inform me.
I think maybe Peter's wording added to the structure one might be the way to go.
Well, I think
Yes, yes.
that Steve has got to go down and sit down with the town attorney and see exactly what he can do to change what. Can I change this, or do I have to change that, or do I have to change the structure to
Guys,
get
we're-
what I want?
Why are we overcomplicating this? I swear to God, I know I've been through other town ordinances that cover these types of items in a similar manner. You know, I'm guessing that this language was not my brainchild. It was probably floating around in there from something I've read. You know, let's just find a place to put it. I'll withdraw my motion. Let's take 5 minutes. Let's find a place to stick this crap, and let's get it done.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Okay. So, where do you guys want it? You want it under structure? You want it under building, or you want to create a new
Definition.
for temporary whatever?
Well, you say another definition right below the whole thing
Temporary
and go
shelter.
4 point, whatever the hell it
Did you
is.
say you should put it under building?
You can't put it under building.
You can put it under temporary.
Mm-hmm.
There's gonna be something new tomorrow and something new
Call it a
day
temporary
after that.
shelter.
They're all
You
gonna be
can't put it under
temporary.
building
Yeah.
because the
And that will
building
cover it.
definition refers to structure.
That's it, and that's what I'm looking for. That's why I used that language and avoided certain words because
Well,
I
there is no
wanted.
temporary, so just add temporary,
Right.
temporary, period,
So we're gonna add a new definition. Temporary.
temporary.
Temporary
You
shelter.
call it a temporary shelter, temporary structure?
No,
Structure.
no, yeah, jeez.
Anything that's temporary.
Shelter.
Temporary,
Or
period.
temporary facility?
Period.
Yeah.
Temporary facility.
No,
No.
temporary.
Just temporary. I'll leave it. Leave it. Okay. So
Temporary, just an adjective.
You have to withdraw your first.
He
I did.
He
I
did.
yanked that thing faster than you could think.
The second didn't get you withdrawn first, though.
I'll withdraw it.
I withdraw.
All right, thank you.
Okay, great. So I will make a motion that we add a new definition under definitions, temporary, which will include
Temporary what?
any temporary or portable, and I'm going to use the word temporary again, any temporary or portable canopy, carport, garage, shelter, or tent shall be subject to all setbacks. And now I'm going to add, they shall have the same setback requirements as accessory buildings, because now we're under a new definition, and I'm going to tie the two together. Okay?
Second.
Wow,
Thank you.
wait a minute before you, all right,
No, we need a second before we can go to discussion.
all right. All you gotta do, you don't have to put the last sentence in there.
I don't care, I want it.
It's his motion.
Because all you have to say is the setbacks of that zone.
Oh,
That's a given. I mean, setback requirements are
No,
defined
it's
by.
not a
zoning.
given.
Setbacks encompasses everything.
Yes.
Yes,
Encompasses the
Any
whole
zone,
town.
any zone.
I
yeah.
understand that, but
Applicable setbacks if you want.
No, you don't even need applicable.
I don't think so.
Whatever.
I mean, just setbacks
any
is
more
fine.
discussion on this?
No.
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Yes.
Motion carries.
One.
Boy.
I asked that
Tall
question
boots.
20 minutes ago about when you were gonna put it on there. All somebody had to do was say temporary.
Temporary. Okay.
Oh my God.
He went to sleep.
Okay.
Who did?
God.
Oh, yeah,
Good
right.
Lord.
Jeez. I mean, I asked that question 20 minutes ago. And that's just the first one, right? Nice.
I'm open to the floor. On your private campgrounds, your storage, or camping structures, and your building and zoning permits.
Second
Discussion, what's the
It's open floor. What you guys want?
Just,
Yeah, I had that first bullet on private campsites, which said one private campsite per lot is allowed. I think we ought to change the wording to just say a private campsite is allowed for no period longer than 30 days consecutive. We don't talk about whether it's one per lot or not. We just say that it's only allowed for
I think
Per-
that's opening Pandora's box.
I know.
So, Sam, this is just a hypothetical case. So, let's say you have, family. If any one of us had family that showed up for a week, and they had 12 kids.
You're just
And-
saying private campsite, so that doesn't say family.
No. Private campsite, because we have a separate zoning ordinance for campgrounds.
Commercial.
All right,
So,
take private out,
okay.
put one family per lot.
Or just use the word
Family.
campsites.
One campsite per lot.
One campsite, I wouldn't even say one campsite, I would just say a campsite is allowed for no longer than 30 days consecutive. We don't say one per lot, because if somebody comes in with their kids and, let's say they're visiting for a week, if my kids come up, the two of them come up, and they both put up a little one-man backpacking tent in my backyard, if we restrict to only one campsite, which is by definition one tent, they can't do that.
No problem, there's no definition of campsite.
Yeah, and we don't want to have to get into putting that definition in here as well.
And not to split hairs here, but if it's my family that's coming up, we need to cut this down to about 3 days.
And 20 tents.
Are you sure it's 3
Instead
days? not
instead
one?
of 24 hours. But,
All of this is good with me.
I would just say a campsite is allowed for a period no longer than 30 days consecutive. That satisfies the language that Steve is looking for, correct? We don't distinguish whether it's one campsite or 20 campsites. It's just say a campsite is allowed for no more than.
When I go camping, I have one campsite, and I might have 6 or 7 tents on it.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying. Yeah.
Correct.
I don't think we should make a distinction as to whether it's 1 or 10 campsites or whatever. It's just a campsite is allowed for a period of no longer than 30 days consecutive.
And by leaving it open like that, gives them the discretion to have more than one tent.
I agree.
And it gives Steve a little bit of, leeway when he's.
Well,
right.
you can't say private campgrounds unless you.
No, I'd take
do.
the word private out. I would just say.
But we do need the 10 days.
I think
The next line
down lower
identifies
says
the 10
a,
days
partial shall
after which you
receive
have to
any
get a permit.
compensation.
This is all part of that definition under a
Yep.
campsite. but I take the word private out of there completely. I mean, if you want to go that route.
Where are you inserting this in our definitions or ordinances, whatever you want to call it?
We don't have one.
No, he said 4.9.
We don't have one for this.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to change something.
It's being added to 4.9.
All we have is recreational.
People listen.
So the title for,
4.9.
yes, but the title for 4.9 should say travel trailers, campers, and tents. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Gotta
so.
get tents in there.
Right, so if we change the title of that section to travel trailers, campers, and tents, and that language gets added in there, that gives you the information you're looking for, the teeth you need to regulate
good,
that.
you just excluded my RV, my motorhome.
But your travel trailers are already there.
It's not a trailer. It's a motorhome.
A camper, by definition, a camper, because that
No,
stays.
Fine. Put it in.
Not a camper,
What?
a recreational vehicle, which is self-driven.
No, I have to drive it.
No,
So-
self-driven.
So
You
Self-powered.
don't have.
Self-powered.
we have a separate definition for,
Yes.
yeah, but within this ordinance, do you want recreational vehicle to be under that same heading? It already is. This town will allow use of recreational vehicles on parcels of land. It's already in there,
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Under the travel trailers and
Yeah, right,
campers,
yeah.
it's already in there.
Occasional use of
Recreational vehicles on parcels of
And then you can
land.
go under the definition and you'll be in there.
Right, right. So you're covered, Bob. So if we change, my proposal is we change 4.9's title to read travel trailers, campers, and tents.
Is that a motion?
It is a motion.
I'll second it.
No,
Oh, now what?
It's about camping, it's not about the.
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying in one spot that you can have a camping site for 30 days, but 30 days, and after 10 days you have to notify, and in the heading that you have, it says 14 days a year.
But that's what
So-
Steve is proposing to change. Instead of 14, he's proposing 30
Oh, you
days.
gotta change the whole.
Exactly.
We are, but we want to fix the title
Let's
first.
fix the title first.
Right, okay. So, Steve, the language under 4.9, with the exception of the 14 calendar day part, does that still work for you relative to these
That works fine.
changes? So if we change that 14 days to say, well, let me back up here.
Well, actually, let's take a vote on changing the title. I think we need to do it in 2 steps.
All right, all right.
Point of order, sorry.
Put your motion back to change the title only first.
I make a motion that
Pull
we
my
change the
motion.
title of that paragraph to read travel trailers, campers, and
14.9,
4.9.
4.9.
4.9.
4.9 tents.
I'll second that.
Travel trailers, motorhomes?
We don't need to list motorhomes as
What did you
travel
say,
trailers, campers, and tents.
How about camping vehicles instead of travel
We
trailers?
already list recreational vehicles in the language in there, Bob,
Yeah.
so
But I
it's
hear
covered.
your title. Camping vehicles covers a wider range of things.
That's a good point.
Travel trailers are a very specific gizmo.
Do we have a definition for camping vehicles?
No, but it's self-explanatory.
To us, yes.
I do have one little question. We can change rules and other things, some things are automatically grandfathered clause. And this seems to be aimed at the people who've been using up the street. So are they grandfathered when you change this?
No, because they're gone. You have to come back and say it
Yeah.
again.
Well, we have a 2-year grandfather clause and everything else is by points. If they come back next spring, it ain't been 2 years.
Grandfather of a temporary situation?
they may not claim it's temporary. I'm just wondering what's gonna happen down the road
I
possibly.
don't know, but let's get through this, please. Let's not get off track.
Right.
That's not off track in my opinion, that's why I asked the question.
It's not aimed at them, it's aimed at the people that are camping.
Well, there's been a lot of, that's been brought up a lot, and it's on camera a lot, almost every meeting, so technically it is aimed at them in my opinion.
It's not directed at them.
Well, they've been brought up a lot, that's my point.
You're,
So you approve of that
to bring up
situation?
a point, travel trailer, a recreational vehicle that is towed by a car or truck. Doesn't say anything about
Motorhomes.
yours.
We have a definition, that's true, we have a definition for recreational vehicles.
No, travel trailer.
I don't see that.
Says travel trailer under
Bottom of
definition.
page 76.
Yeah, you gotta jump back to 76 on
Oh,
that.
okay.
There is nothing under recreational vehicles. There is nothing under camping vehicles.
Okay. That's travel trailer. So, let me ask this question then, do we want to change that title to include recreation vehicles?
You're gonna have to know because according to us, the recreation vehicle was towed by a car or a truck. You're gonna have to change.
Change that whole thing.
Camping vehicles covers it all.
It's a matter of definition here.
So if we change that heading, the definition heading,
This is
to,
not a definition, Sam.
what is this?
It's an ordinance.
Right, so if we changed, we can, that's what we're talking about, changing it, right?
Right.
The title.
The title.
So if we changed it, thank you, I couldn't think of the word I wanted. If we change the title to travel trailer, campers, recreational vehicles, and tents, and then put the rest underneath. That's what we're trying to do. Why add something new? Why not just change what's there?
And then we could always broaden the scope of travel
Right,
trailers.
exactly.
No, broaden the
No.
scope of recreation
You
vehicles.
Oh,
change,
recreational vehicles.
you take out travel trailers completely and put in
Recreation
recreational
vehicles.
vehicles, which are self-driven or towed by a car or truck.
Right, so we make two changes.
Okay, and we have a
And
definite,
campers and tents.
Yes.
Okay.
So recreation vehicles, campers, and tents.
So, but you just, didn't you just say something that's towed, isn't a camper towed?
Right now, travel trailers is the only definition we have for a camper
Right.
A recreation.
So what was
or
this?
recreational vehicles. Now, the recreation vehicle, which is self-driven, is not towed by a car or a truck.
Right, and that's what you're saying,
So
we
let's-
should change that definition as
Well,
well.
I mean, Bob is,
I agree with that. I agree,
you
because.
have one,
Connie, if I may, I mistakenly, I forgot my book, ordinance book.
You want
But
mine?
in that book, self-propelled recreational vehicle is in there.
I don't believe, I can't find it, Steve.
I know, I'm sorry, but it is.
Well, it's difficult because we have this, chapter 4, which has definitions on page, 14, and then you go to page 76 or something, we have more definitions.
Yeah.
And there's definitions in different places in the zoning ordinance, which is very confusing for us.
No matches. Self-propelled is not in here.
no, I didn't find it either.
Did you do a search?
No, I did not.
Page 17, middle of the page, is recreational vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah, built on
Yeah.
a single chassis, under 400 square feet. Which these days, you might have to change that.
Yeah, designed to be self-propelled or permanently
Exactly.
towable.
Exactly. Now, we may have to change the 400 square feet, because they are getting bigger.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so it does define it as self-propelled, so that's what I thought it said.
So we can leave that whole travel trailers alone?
No, you've got to still put in recreational
Right.
vehicles because it's,
Yeah.
Okay.
17.
Recreational vehicles added March 14th. Let's go right to the page, instead of trying to read that little thing there. built on a single chassis, 400 square feet or less when measured.
Keep reading.
Designed for, be self-propelled or permanently
Right,
towable.
right.
Great, okay.
Yeah. So if that title reads recreation vehicles, campers, and tents, as we already discussed, that covers all of the potential things that people can camp in.
I'm sorry, what do you want to change it to?
Recreation vehicles,
Okay. That's
campers, and tents.
Intense, okay.
But you need to withdraw your previous
I'm going to
motion.
withdraw my previous motion after the second is withdrawn.
I'll have to withdraw mine for a moment.
I will so do, and I will change the wording to read. The title for section 4.9 shall read, I propose this, recreation vehicles, campers, and tents.
The problem you have, Steve, is the definition you're using for a recreational vehicle. Definition of terms 4.10.1. The following definition shall apply only to this floodplain development ordinance and shall not affect by the provisions of any other ordinance of the town of Ossipee. So that recreational vehicles that you are referring to is only within a floodplain.
No, that's the definitions.
No!
That's the definitions that follow that, Connie.
Is a 4.10.
I'm looking at that, and they're referring to all of these definitions that follow.
That's correct.
Right,
And
but
it
it's a
says
floodplain.
the provisions of any other ordinance of the town of Ossipee. So you're saying that this recreation vehicle is only in the floodplain.
I see what you're saying.
It says floodplain.
I stand corrected. I stand
So we need
corrected.
to go back to where it says,
So,
right where I said before, what number was that, 71?
okay.
So if we go back into Article 33, where definitions are, that is where we have to place.
Right,
The
71.
definitions for recreational vehicles.
Exactly.
Go back to private campsites is ahead of the line here.
So let's go ahead and get the title, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, can we vote on the title and then we'll add the language
That's
under
fine.
definitions?
Right. So I made a motion to change the title of 4.7,
4.9.
I'm sorry, 4.9 to read recreation vehicles, campers, and tents.
Is that what you want?
Under travel trailer, right? On page 76?
No, just on 4.9 on page 14.
You got a second for that?
I'll second it.
All right,
At least
now
for the sake of
discussion.
argument.
4.9. You should say the heading only.
I did, I called
He
it the
said
title.
Oh, excuse me,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
hear the
yeah.
You
title.
call it the title, that's fine.
Now, as a, oops, do we have more discussion? We gotta vote on that.
No, discussion. I mean, if you
I'm
want to
through.
clarify it, that's fine.
I'm through discussing.
What page you on?
Okay,
Page 14?
I want to look at it.
all those in favor of
Wait, I want to look at it.
retitling 4.9
Okay.
to read
Recreation vehicles, campers, and tents.
um,
Go ahead, Pete.
Go.
No, I'm voting. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. It's a yes. It's a yes.
I think you should have had travel trailers in there too.
Well, we can, when we define RVs, we can,
It's already in our definition of RVs back on page
Yeah, but we're going to have
70.
to change that whole.
You're gonna have to change that.
We're going
Change.
to, but I
We're
mean,
gonna
we have
add
to
that.
start here
Okay,
to get
so
back to
4.9.
that.
All those in favor of Tim's motion,
Okay,
pass.
okay. Now, with-
Now back to 71.
before we do that, Sam, if I may, the actual paragraph underneath 4.9, we need to change the wording of that
Correct.
to incorporate these 7 bullet points that Steve has given us, the language in here anyway, and then
4.1, 4.2, 4. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, if we had like these 7 items on Steve's list.
Right, but don't they go down on the other page, or do they go into here?
No, they would go here under 4.9, and we could call it 4.9.1, 4.9.2, or whatever we want to do.
There- There's actually 8 bullets.
I'm sorry, is there 8? Yes, I'm sorry, there is 8.
You,
No, there's 7.
No, 7 plus the storage section.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. My apologies. I'm thinking, am I missing something here?
Yes, my good
Yes.
time.
My dinner.
Column A, 1, 2, 3, 4.
We just,
Just waiting for somebody to do the filibuster, that's all.
Now, obviously, we start here by saying, right now it reads, a travel trailer and/or camper defined by this ordinance. We are going to change that language to say recreation vehicles defined by, recreation vehicles, campers,
and tents.
and tents,
Good.
as defined by this ordinance, owned and registered residents of town of Ossipee for personal
can't
use.
do it. You can't do it.
Why not?
You've got to add the tents and the separate, because you're saying registered by the residents.
Can't register.
You can't register
Oh,
a
right,
camper.
okay, gotcha. So if we say, you're correct. So if we say recreation vehicles, campers, owned and registered by residents of the town of Ossipee for personal use may be stored or parked, and tents may be stored and parked during periods of non-use on the premises of the owners, provided it remains mobile and non-hooked up to utilities and remains uninhabited. The town will allow occasional use of recreational vehicles on parcels of land if parcels are used for not more than 30 days in any calendar year.
Consecutive.
30 consecutive days in every calendar year.
Right.
And then the landlord must comply with the remainder of RSA 216-1:13. After that, we then add
Original use of RVs as followed, and then the 8 bullets.
491.
Yeah, we add these 8 bullets, but the language in them has to change a little bit. Because the first one we already talked, we beat into the ground about saying, a campsite is allowed for a period of no longer than 30 days. We've already covered that here. Or
But
maybe
that's what I'm saying, and back it up. End it at, amended March 1996. The town
Page you on
or
now.
campsite subject
Page
to the
14.
following requirements, and then put the 8 bullets.
That's good. That's good. Where these are the requirements. Can you repeat that so that I understand that?
But you already said that's good.
No, I like the language. The following, what was the wording you used? Contingent on the following requirements?
Okay, after amended March 96, instead of saying the town will allow occasional use of RVs, the town will allow a campsite, because you don't want to use the word private, right?
Right, and you don't want to use the term recreational vehicles.
Right.
We're just talking about campsites here
A
as well.
campsite is subject to the following requirements.
Right,
And then your 8 bullets.
yes.
Or whether you want to list them as
Well, the first bullet we
4.9.
already have covered in the language instead of, well, it'll be covered in there because we've said 14 days and we're changing that to 30 days.
No, it won't, because we're eliminating that.
From
Yeah.
March of 1996 on, we eliminate that language.
Yes,
And
because
put
it's
the 8 bullets in, with the exception of the first bullet will read, a campsite is allowed for a period no longer than 30 days consecutive. Okay,
30 consecutive days.
right, 30
You
days,
keep-
yeah, 30
you keep-
consecutive
you keep
days.
forgetting consecutive.
And
I
then,
won't.
We'll get them educated soon.
We'd be smart if we let Laura just, the bullets are here.
no, I'm just reading to make sure that we don't have to, I
So we
agree.
could vote on it next
Yep.
time.
No, I think so. Can you just block those in as a,
She can work with Steve.
Yeah.
And then we can
I
play with
agree.
the language
No,
next time.
I'm all for that.
Instead of sitting here till 11 o'clock at night.
I gotta eat dinner, so I'm
Yeah,
ready to
so-
go now.
You and me both.
So I agree, and then
Right.
all 8 bullets. And then, can we jump to the next one?
Let's leave that for next time.
Okay.
One quick one.
What?
It's very fast. We just need to put the definition, under definitions, the definition of a recreational vehicle, because it's under the floodplain, and
Okay,
it's
but
added
that's,
under our definition.
so back on page, this
And I
is for,
stole the language.
this is for our next meeting, because we're running out of patience here, I think is the best way to describe it.
Even lost a chairman.
And
The lights go out in 10 minutes.
Ryan, you're
I'm the vice chair, so
great.
until he comes to the door, I'm
so
no
you're
longer in
saying
charge.
back,
He just came back.
in, Sam, just correct me if I'm
What page? Just tell me what page.
we're back in definitions, Article
What?
33 on page 70,
1?
70, I'm looking for the,
71.
Are we adding a definition?
well, I'm looking for the definition of a recreational vehicle is
Okay,
not
so
in
we're
these
gonna go
definitions.
to
And
Page
that's,
76.
it would be page 76.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where it is, page 76.
And we're gonna add this definition.
So you
This
need to add
definition of recreational vehicles will be added in page 76.
Okay.
In Article 33, which takes it away from just being defined, as Connie pointed out to us, in the floodplain. It's actually pertaining to the entire
But I would
zoning
like to
ordinance.
strike one part of that, so can I make a motion as to, is there any motions or anything on the floor?
No.
Oh, she's already worded this, so we're gonna.
Yeah, but he wants to strike part of that. Go ahead.
Yes, I just want to remove the square footage, because Steve is right, they're definitely a lot bigger than 400 square feet, just take it completely out.
Right.
All right?
That's in the definition of recreation vehicle, which we're gonna put
Correct.
in here.
Yeah, everything else can stay,
I agree.
built on a single chassis, designed to be
Thank you.
self-propelled, and designed not for,
So we made an
Use of
executive
time.
decision while you weren't here, Connie.
You can't go anywhere with people in 25 places.
We made Pete the new chairman. No, I'm kidding.
I'm out of here.
I'm going to impeach you.
Oh, my.
I've been wanting to do that for weeks.
Sorry, I didn't mean
Everybody's
to,
a little punchy.
I didn't
Let's
mean
get
to
this done.
interrupt the
Let's
seriousness
finish.
of.
Come on, let's finish.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is way too long. 2 hours is long enough for me.
That's way long for me.
You're all
Thank you,
set,
Laura.
And I've got notes too. If you,
No, I'm fine.
I figured you would.
So we'll add the definition of recreational vehicle.
Okay, but you're removing,
Just this part right here, 400 square feet.
So what are we on now? Building?
so you're eliminating B altogether.
Yeah,
No,
so
I
C can
mean,
move up to
finish this
B.
one, right?
No, you have to have a motion.
Down with this one.
Right.
You have to have a motion to do what you're doing.
Oh, he's going to. He's just letting me know what he was.
Do we need to make it this evening? You want to do it now?
Or do you want to make
You
it?
have to make the motion
Okay.
to accept it, the change, and then it's gotta go to the lawyers before.
Right.
But we haven't made the change yet because Laura hasn't finished it yet.
She's gonna write
We're
it
gonna
up.
vote on it
Laura's
next
going to
meeting.
write
I'm
up.
gonna write it up
She's going to write it up, and then
4.9.
we'll vote on it the next meeting.
Do we have
We
time?
can't.
We don't have time. Is that what the issue was? We're running.
December 13th is the last day.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Isn't
why
that
we-
for petitions?
No, that's for
That's for
petition.
That's
petitions.
for
Connie.
petitions, and there is nothing in there that says zoning ordinance changes. And we as a board are petitioning the town to change something. So I have kept it.
But January 12th is the last day to post and publish a notice
For the first hearing.
for the first hearing on proposed adoption or amendment of zoning ordinances, historic district ordinance, or building code, if a second hearing is anticipated.
We have to have it on the 3rd.
What?
Excuse me, the 2nd.
Second.
Well, that's just only the last date, so whatever I decide.
January 12th, right?
January 2nd is the
Second.
last date because the next meeting is on the 16th,
Right.
which is past that deadline.
But the January 22nd is the last day to hold any public hearing for
Right,
changes.
but you have to, 10 days
I
prior,
know.
So,
The 12th.
if we do it, you can't even do it because we can, because if we meet on the 2nd, you can publish it for the 12th,
Well,
by the 12th.
I'm confused here. We have a meeting in 2 weeks, correct?
On the
January,
9th.
I'm sorry, the 9th.
We have a
19th.
meeting on the 19th. Our next one
Yes,
will be
yes.
January 2nd.
but,
Wait, now you've lost. No, but I'm saying on the 19th, we
can settle all this.
create the,
Right, I'll bring in the
Right.
final write-up for 4.9.
and one of us will, right, make a
whatever.
motion on the language that you are gonna prepare for us. And that will be well before the deadline that we have.
Laura,
Just
just
now.
double check with Sager.
the deadline is December 13th.
No,
Laura
that's
just
for
said it was January.
petitions, that's for
That's petitions.
petitions from the public.
Who is petitioning the court?
No.
The town. Who is petitioning the town? This zoning board is.
I think it means private outside
It does.
petitions.
Says here,
I don't know,
last
because
day
it does
post
not
public
say anything
notice.
about planning board changing ordinances.
Didn't the last time we did the public, we had to have it in before the last December meeting?
January 12th.
Wasn't that when we, like, way back
Asked
when
you to
we?
accept petitions to amend
Petitions.
zoning
It's a
ordinance.
petition, it's a written petition with 25 signatures on it.
Ed, can you clarify it for us, or don't you know?
You're right, you're
Say
wrong.
number again?
I'm wrong.
675?
When is the last day for us?
What we just said.
I don't know.
It's
But
on
we're not
the,
a
it's on the
private,
calendar.
same as a private petition.
Yeah, you're talking about a
What's
petition
Friday,
warrant article
January
that
It says
January
that-
22nd is the last day to hold a hearing.
Right. This is the last.
That's January 12th, the last
So
day.
we have to have it before January 12th,
It's the last
which
day to
would mean
post.
January 3rd is the last time that we can vote on having changes to the zoning.
Yep. But I'm gonna get this written up so we can do that on the 19th.
Right.
Be done with it.
Because as of right now, we have no cases to review. Well, excuse me, yes, we will. No, we won't.
No, we don't.
No,
Brian's
yeah,
next
but
We
Sure.
won't have any cases for the next meeting, so we can get this settled.
If it's rolled up the way we talked, it should
Right.
be settled very quick.
Right, and the only other one we've got to do is the permits.
And that should be easy to do after going through all of this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I
sure.
got a lot of
either.
problems with that.
Okay.
We good, Peter?
Yes, fantastic. Make a motion, we adjourn.
No.
Oh, for God's
Got
sakes.
one more to go.
No, we're not doing it tonight.
It's too late to do it tonight.
It's too late to do it tonight. 2 hours is a maximum, you can
minutes.
really function as a meeting.
Make a
Under
motion, we
planning
adjourn.
board procedures, no new business takes place after 9:30.
But we
I
were
don't have
started,
9:25.
motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You want these correct?